This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we have read a little bit of Think and Grow Rich, and now we gather to discuss what we've read. Today we were charged with, if you will, reading pages 33 to 37. It's the beginning of chapter 2, where he actually outlines the 6 definite steps of how to transmute your desire into reality. And of course, being Think and Grow Rich, it is how to transmute your desire for money and wealth and riches in terms of dollar amounts, how to do that, how to transmute that into reality, because there are definite steps. The room is open. Somebody wants to jump in and begin the discussion. One thing that was very clear to me right in the beginning was desire is not a hope. It's not a wish. The desire is definite, very definite. It is a solid goal, a solid vision to work towards, not a, boy, I'd really like to be, or wouldn't it be nice if? Nope. It is very clear, and it's a burning desire. The only thing that bothers me about this, because of my own issues with obsessiveness and the ability to get lost in the obsession, is that in the story, Mr. Barnes, who wanted to work with Thomas Edison, says that he relays that it was a consuming obsession of his life. And he was able to attain that desire. It was the sole focus of his life. Now, having read this and realizing that he really wasn't saying this literally, that instead, what he was doing was saying that, oh, Evan, thank you. Hello, wish you all good health and limitless wealth of defined desire, of definite desire. Thank you. I wish the same for you. So again, he had the obsession. It was a consuming obsession. So here was my difficulty with this when I first came across it. Honest to goodness, not kidding. Those who've been with me know this to be true. I struggled with being literal. I struggle with that. And so I have to take time to think it through and get other perspectives. And is what I'm reading really going to work for me? And one of the things I've been relying on are people like you who join me in the discussion with your perspectives. And what I've learned is that I do not have to be so consumed with the desire for something that everything else is set aside. Instead, the desire I have, my definite purpose, my definite desire, my clear vision, and the plan to attain that is the priority in my life after God and family. And when I'm presented with opportunities or ideas or offers, in a variety of ways, I am able to look at them to see if they fit in with my plan to attain my burning desire. So having said that, I realize that the burning obsession simply means that I am so very clear on where I want to end up and what I'm working towards that very few things, well, nothing can sway me. This is it. This is the way I'm going towards. So an example of that I can relay for today is that I made the decision to transition my branding from being a company that Charlene Burke is behind and works behind to stepping out on my own and becoming just Charlene Burke. And what does that look like? It's taken me less than a year to know what that looks like. but I cannot do my own branding, right? So I'm now on the lookout for somebody who can take who I am and what I do and what I offer to be clear in the branding I put forth into 2016. That is part of the plan for me to attain my major definite purpose, which includes the amount of money that I want to be making. So let's take a look at, we've got a desire. It is a burning desire, and it's not a hope, it's not a wish. It is a very clear desire. And what Napoleon Hill says, based on, remember, this is based on 500 people or so that he's interviewed and spoken with and watched. And he outlines 6 definite steps. Yeah, it seems extreme, and the literal person in me takes it as such, Matt. So the first step is fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. The second is determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Create a definite plan for carrying out your design and begin at once. And if I knew how to type that would have been different. So 4, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once. 5, write a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit. State what you will give in return for it. So what he does is he says, you know what? This is the amount of money I want. How am I going to get it? And the principles that he teaches us is that we can get it, and it's sustainable if we get it with integrity and honesty and forthrightness, and in a way that is helpful. You know, rather than just, I want it all, therefore I'm going to get it all, it's all mine, I deserve it, anything like that. Hey, Janine, good to see you, welcome. So there they are, 6 steps. You know, there's the PDF to refer to. If you don't have a copy yourself, it's the beginning of chapter 2 about transmuting that desire. You know, I have a solid desire that by the first day of February, I will have in my possession, this is what I wrote down, I will have in my possession a particular amount of money, and it will come to me in various amounts from time to time. But in exchange for that money, it's not just the money, in exchange for that, I will give the most efficient service of which I am capable, rendering the fullest possible quantity, best possible quality of service. And what capacity am I going to do that? That's part of the vision. That's part of the end result. You know, there's more to it, but honestly, it comes down to clearly defining who I am at the time that I receive this money and what I plan to give in exchange. I am giving, and currently I am, because it's part of my plan. The service that I provide is I provide consultation to people who want marketing. Now, and that comes in the form of my working with companies. I just signed on a client opening up a brand new office in Florida, and they want to do they need to do online and offline marketing. We've already identified a clear reason as to why they're different from the competition and what the messaging is going to be. But now it comes down to how will we get the message out and where should it go? So that's what they've hired me for, is to do a little bit of research, market research, and media research. Where should they be? Where should they be in front of, and how are they going to get in front of them, right? So what tactics? And we'll outline all of that, and then we'll move forward with how to have people available, either internally or externally, and I'll walk them through all that. So that's with the company. And I do that a lot. Been doing that since June of 2008. Now with individuals, it's a little different. I provide one-on-one trainings. I do group trainings, the how-tos of internet marketing, of how to brand yourself, of how to create a reputation, right? And I also provide, I moderate mastermind groups for solopreneurs. And that means that I just make sure the meetings go well and everybody gets what they need out of it. And I kind of give guidance in terms of the kind of questions you should be asking yourselves and each other. But I'm not the focus of the group because I'm not a coach. I am someone who knows how to make sure that those in the group get what they need. How do I know this? I've been doing it for quite a few years and I've got quite a few testimonials, and I checkpoint with the members and they tell me the good, the bad, the uglies. And so I feel very confident in saying I am giving the best possible quality of service and the most efficient service I can to my customers and my group members. Hi, Robert, Dina. So good to see you, doll. Dennis, Ken, welcome. And all, that combination comes into play. Oh, also I provide consulting with individuals. Just brought on a couple of new clients for the consulting part, which is tactical. Oh, I love my show too. Thank you, Robert. Good to have you with us. So that's what I do, and I've thought it out, right? And now things I was doing to build my business over 6-7 years kind of all encompassed all of that, but then things started changing and I wasn't as definite as what Napoleon Hill's telling us to be. I didn't, you know what I had? I had a clear desire to not be something. I really didn't have a clear desire of where I was going. And that's the biggest difference. It wasn't sustainable because in 2013, it started falling apart, meaning, I lost my gumption, I lost my oomph, I lost my desire to really be doing the things I was doing with companies because I was now far away from that which I was running away from and refusing to go back to, which is corporate world. Office settings, the kind of jobs that I had were not good for me. So what I've learned over the past 2 years is that writing it down makes a big difference, more and more clear of where I'm headed, what it's going to look like as I keep moving towards it. And I thought I was clear earlier this year, actually about this time last year, when I started on the road of Grow Because You Know. I thought it was clear and wrote it down. Okay. The only thing I didn't write down was the amount of money I was going to get, but I've got it over here on basically on a whiteboard. Still have it from 2014, where I outlined what Grow Because You Know was going to be all about, and includes a marketing plan, who my target market is. And the only thing that is not happening, the only thing that's changed because I adjusted to it, was instead of, I was going to do a podcast. And it was going to be a weekly or possibly a daily podcast beginning in middle of 2014 or 2015. And instead, Blab came across, I came across Blab. And I said, nope, this is it. Much better than a podcast. And hence that change. So that's been my story. And I say I'm more clear on where I'm headed because I did write out these 6 steps. I read you part of my major definite purpose. The writing keeps progress in your, yes, it does keep progress in my face. I also I now journal, which is not something I've done before. And that's part of what is helping to measure my progress, but also keep very clear what I'm working towards. And this was offered to me by my business coach. It came on board in September and has made a huge difference in my staying focused and growing. Because after I'm discussing with you guys, when you decide to jump in and actually discuss this with me, once a week, I'm able to get with my business coach. And some of what we discuss comes up in our discussions between he and I. So again, we have a definite goal, a definite vision. The desire is definite. It is not a hope or a wish. It is not the mamby-pamby woo-woo stuff. It is, this is what I will have on this date. And what I really, really like is what I will give in return for it. Because you see, it takes it completely out of the realm of winning the lottery and hoping and wishing, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, hippy dippy woo woo.
Yeah. Well, you don't have enough hair for the hippy dippy part,
No,
sweetie.
I don't.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, like when you didn't put a money down. I've still been reading about the Mind movie, and I think because of the extreme steps that he puts in place, like he said, I think it's more he's talking about taking action with your plan than it is that like the result has to be this way. But when he says like put down the amount of money that you exactly want to make, and it sort of sounds a lot of like an expectation sometimes, and we know reality doesn't always fulfill the expectations. So you adapt the plan sort of, or how you're going to achieve it.
That's it. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to go after it. And that I've got everything in place. And quite honestly, when I started outlining what the revenue streams, the change in the revenue streams, I'm on target for February 1st. I'm right on target. That all things being equal and everybody does what they say they're going to do, right? Right? So I know that it's dependent on other people doing what they're supposed to do. I understand that. I'm on target. And I wasn't that defined this time last year. I wasn't that defined. And I was defined in other ways, but not like this, because it involves my personal growth as well. And for that, I'm grateful.
Do you think one of the keys is getting, like, because when you first start out with a plan, you only have it as a plan. Do you get more defined as you get more done? Okay, so maybe that's part of it too.
That is where part of my journey has been. That's what I meant by it's becoming more clear, is because I didn't write the entire plan. I mean, what I have up on my board is, well, it's not a board. It's blue huge, big blue Post-it notes. You can see a part of one behind me there. Grow because you know. Number one, who it's for. It's for solopreneurs. Yay. I've been talking about that for 2 years. I was going to, and the audio, which is now, I'm going to cross that out. I'm just going to put a line through it and just put blab, because it was originally going to be about a 15-minute podcast, but this is completely different when we have interaction, right? So now it is conversation. And then what kind of style? Well, it's self-hosted. Hello, here I sit, Hey. I have a mission statement, and then additional, it's just an outline, because then I have the additional, how I'm going to be doing presentations, webinars, and specific gatherings, if you will, outside of Blab. And I've got what I call nitty gritty, and that's where we dig into actually training. So I do those in terms of workshops with Zoom. And then I have Mind Matters and Business Matters, which are combined in terms of the mastermind groups. I mean, it just, so this was the outline. I don't have mastermind groups written down there, but that's what I started with. I had it as webinars and or training, nitty gritty, Mind Matters, Heart Matters, Business Matters, and kind of wrote out what that meant. And that's it. That's what I started with. And then from there, it got more detailed, became more definite. And you are not using your new microphone, are you?
It's this one, right? Is it working? That one?
Something's scratchy.
Maybe they still both work some way.
Yeah, because you are scratching on the table, sweetie.
Sorry. There we go.
All right.
My hands are up.
Thank you. So you see, I mean, I had it outlined, right? And I knew the general direction I was going, and I still had a lot of questions as to whether or not I really was going to make it, because I didn't have some of the definiteness that I have now. And that happened earlier this year, that I became very clear on the amount of money. I started doing this, right? Yeah. And then the whole reason for the Blab was to support my doing what is written in the book. And
Mm-hmm.
by that, I've really become very, very clear on where I'm going. I've already turned down some opportunities that just don't mesh.
Yeah,
You know,
learning to say no
yeah. I
to
mean,
certain
but
things.
now so you know why you're saying no and why you're turning down. You don't have to explain that to anybody. For instance, there was a gal I know on Blab that she approached me. She wanted to set up trainings, and she wanted me to do a portion of the trainings. And she said, the idea is that I want to lead them into your mastermind, and then you lead those that come through your trainings into my more deep trainings. And I looked it over and I said, yeah, this could work. This could work. Let me think on this. And a week or two passed, and I sent her a note to say I needed to talk to her about it. And right at the same time, she sent me a note saying, I'm going to have to back out because she's actually partnered up with somebody else who's a perfect fit for her. I mean, perfect.
There you go.
This would have been something we would have struggled to make work. Whereas what she's doing now is so gosh darn easy. There isn't any thought to it. And I told her privately, of course, I said, what's funny is I was saying the same thing, that it's not a good fit. Got my full support. I'm behind you. I'll help promote you the whole bit because I think it's awesome. Soon I get a call from another gal on Blab, and we're launching something in January because it fully aligns with what I do.
There you go.
But it
is, you're right. It is about the plan. Maybe sort of they have a similar plan and mission statement that aligns with what you're doing, and it just sort of meshes and works.
Whatever it is, okay, I think the whole thing with my experience has shown that I can tell you right now that had I stayed with the first lady, I would have had to say no to the second. I would have had to say no. I wouldn't have had time. And I would have struggled with the first lady to make something work. Whereas this one, it's like beyond ridiculously easy. I have found the other pea in my pod. Okay. So it's, that's all I can say. But it's because I would have taken this. I would have gone with the first lady a couple of years ago. Because it kind of aligned and it looked like it would fit and it's worth the effort because in the end, I know it's going to be successful. That would have been the approach. And I would have spent a lot of time and it would have been successful, but man, it would have taken a lot of work to make it happen. That just.
Yeah. And sometimes reinventing that wheel isn't always the best road to go down.
Yeah.
If you can find somebody that's got more of a similar path.
That's it. Yeah. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to Zainab. Good to see you, dear. Glad you're here. And Anita, welcome. It's a previous salon owner from New York. I love that. Okay, so are you going to take off on me? No. Don't you have anything else? You have all kinds of stuff.
I do.
Yes.
I'm journaling. Mine's more of a free writing thing, but I'm journaling a page every single day, and I have so since January 1st of this year.
Okay.
So that's definitely helped me reflect on like what am I doing with my time? Am I having a direction in something, and am I inputting that every single day? It does help when you write it down, when you have it right in your sight every time you wake up. You said that you read your purpose every morning and like every night.
That's right.
That'll definitely I'll definitely do it.
Well, and what's interesting is that the journal, I've never been able to keep a journal, what I call a journal of nonfiction. I'm a writer. I've got books similar to this, a little bit bigger, in my cabinet behind me from when I was a kid. And I tried journaling, and it always goes off into a fiction. So then I get into a character sketch or into a plot line or into a scene or into poetry and all that. So it's always fictionalized. This is the first time I've committed with my business coach to do it in nonfiction, but he didn't put any restrictions on me. He said it just has to be real. It has to be you. It has to be related to your business. I said, I can do that. As long as I have that structure, I can do that. And that's what it's been. And it started out, to be honest, which is really annoying to me. He had to teach me how to do it a little better. I did. I started writing it and I shared it with him. And what it was, my plan for the day, right? And then my plan for the launch of something new, which has already happened. I said, so the problem is I'm like repeating what I've already got written elsewhere. So he walked me through how to change that. And what it was he was showing me how to continually write these 6 steps in terms of what I'm going towards and what's happening now. Where am I now as milestones and stepping stones. So
cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff for me.
Really good stuff. It is. It keeps you focused. I often say yes to a lot of things, and having that focus keeps you like a river, keeps you, instead of turning into a flood and becoming overwhelmed, which is my thing quite often, just doing too many things at once. I like to say yes a lot because I like opportunity, but it's not always the best thing.
And that's what can get you in trouble if you're trying to grow a business or reaching towards something as an end goal. If you don't have an end goal that you're going for, then it's a great experience to try a lot of things and to determine from there who and what you want to be, right? So I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying though that if you have a goal in mind, if you have this end reason for why you're doing what you're doing, then you'll be more. My experience has been I was very frustrated because I wasn't going there. I was being distracted. I thought it was all towards, hey, it's opportunity. It was just distracting, and so kept me too spread out, just as you said, too spread out.
Turn into a flood.
Yes.
Okay. So I do have to go to work now.
Okay.
And make more money.
Terrific.
Do my job.
I understand that. Terrific.
Until I get my company or whatever I decide to do going. I'll stick with making money until then.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Matt. Good to see you.
Somebody else hops in here.
Good to see you.
Too.
Yeah, the seat's open. Anybody wants to jump in and talk about the 6 steps, or the story that was relayed to us. The starting point of all achievement is desire, and desire is not a hope or a wish. It's a definite, write it out. This is what I will be. And, the story that's put forth is that Barnes took 5 years before he had an opportunity to even show up, right? To be in front of Edison, to have that opportunity. Let's see here. And then during the Chicago fire, the story of one of the merchants standing in front of the burnt out buildings and pointing out there saying that I'm rebuilding. My store will be there. Doesn't matter how many times it burns. We will rebuild. It's that simple. I complicated it. Yeah, I tend to do that. I don't know. Do you guys tend to do that? If anybody wants to jump in and join the conversation, please do so. We'd love to have you join me. Need a reference so that the 6 steps are written out more clearly for you? Oh, Dina, you're pulsing. Here you come. There you are. I can't hear you. I don't know, dear. Yeah, try again. All right, any minute, Dina will come on. Well, the difficulty is I'm not sure if it's her or me now, because I'm getting indications that my internet may just go kaplooey, which is always fun. Oh, no, Dina. You are not coming on at all. Anybody else want to come in? There's another open seat. Plenty of room. And we can get 4 of us in here if I can take down the question. Oh, terrific. Okay, Zainab. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. Now if we could get Dina to do the same, hey? Oh dear. Oh, well, we at least got video last time. Oh no, Dina. Must be in a different part of the office, or maybe you're actually down the hall sort of thing. I don't know. Keep trying though. I'll let you know when I see you. You changed office to do better. Well, okay. Try again. You know.
Hello.
Oh, there she is. Hello, dear. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you. How are you?
So far, so good.
Good.
So far, so good. I mean, it is a little dreary outside. This light is fake. It's from my desk lamp.
Oh, same here. Same here. It's raining completely outside.
Yeah, but I'm glad for the rain. I'm glad for the rain.
I think especially here we've missed it for the entire time, all the way through since summer. It hasn't really rained that much. So
oh no.
It's been
We've had some good things. We don't have any terrible conditions, and actually, our farmers are doing well, and so we've had good quality rain. We haven't had too much. We've had good sunshine, not too much. We've had heat, not too much. So it's been pretty good, actually. So how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I was just going to say about, sort of from where I caught you, from where I sort of, I actually came in, you were talking about sort of writing down things. And I find it really interesting sort of writing down my thoughts and trying to actually figure out how I'm feeling. Because sometimes it can be that so many things are going on that I just don't really realize what I'm actually feeling. So I just know that something's off. But it can take I really literally have to take myself out of everything and just sit there and actually try and figure it out, because otherwise I don't know how to react, because I don't really know what it is I'm actually feeling. So if I'm reacting to someone else, maybe then I don't actually know if it's me that's wrong or if it's them that's wrong, or if I've misunderstood everything. So I tend to use writing more to actually understand what's going on in my life sometimes.
Well, and that's a wonderful tool. It really is. And I tried doing that when I was younger. I just couldn't, because what would happen is in all honesty, I was one of those people that the way I'm made, I'm pretty definite. And I pretty much knew what I was feeling and why I was feeling it. It was just in the asking part, you weren't going to hear about it. I wasn't a talker. So when I tried journaling, because I was told how helpful it would be, right? I would start out with saying how sad I am, or how happy I am, or how depressed I am, or how angry I am, right? And within a couple of lines, it would turn into a story about somebody else, because I already knew how I was feeling, right? And I really didn't understand that the whole point was to not only know what you were feeling, but to consciously change it, to gain control of the thoughts and the feelings, right? I didn't understand that part. But instead, I've been writing and I've had short stories published and poetry and awards and all that sort of thing for fiction. And okay.
Sorry, my sister's sort of here, but
no problems.
Okay, right. I'm going to have to move for a second. So
all right.
Give me a moment to locate.
Of course.
Because I share my room with my sister, but she was like, "Oh, I want to be in here, but I don't really want to be in the background." So.
Well, of course she doesn't. That's not a problem at all. Hi, Robert.
Hey.
Welcome.
Love this show, by the way. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Glad to have you here. So Zainab, you're saying that you're not able to write the fiction. Instead, you're able to write the truth, right? And I've gone from having been able to write all the fiction all these years to finally learning how to really write the truth. And that identifies my struggle that others in here know about, of my stepping out and showing the world my stepping out from behind the company. It's very difficult.
Because I find sometimes I also sort of get lost in other people's stories as well. So sometimes I'll see something in the day that's affected me, and I'll sort of dive into how I feel about that. But sometimes focusing on, like, sometimes it doesn't feel like that much is going on, so you don't necessarily have to write that much about how you're feeling, because it is relatively easy. There's nothing really that's changed so much. But I think I probably get lost more in other people's stories sometimes. So it's not necessarily fiction, but it's not necessarily my story either.
Yeah, but I think it's part of the human experience myself. I don't know. Let's see what Robert has to say about that. Hi there, Robert. Jump on in, buddy. Right in the middle of that.
Oh, my gosh. The story.
And he says, no, I was going to talk about number one.
Charlene, I got to tell you, that story that you said was pretty right on with me. I mean, I've been 20 years in marketing and advertising. And when there's the last 3 years, I let it go. I let it go and let myself go, and didn't know what I wanted to do. And yes, you were always serving. You were always, helping people get, achieve their goals. And I just never knew for the last couple of years what I wanted to do. And and I started looking at, desires and what was my last run of my last 50 years? Well, that gives me my age, okay? But
that's okay. I'm older. It's not a big deal. Once you hit 50, who the hell cares? Move on.
Yeah, move on.
That's what'll end up happening to you, Zainab. Yeah. If there's any issue with age right now, sweetie, you get 5-0 and it's an awesome thing. You just go.
Yeah. So that's true, because it's like you just give up. And for me, I give up. I gave up, and and collapsed. A whole lot of things collapsed around me. Yeah. But when you realize what you really got, when you're, I guess if you could say, for lack of a better word, so far down that you turn around and say, what is it that I can actually contribute back? Mm-hmm. And there was only one word that came to me about 1.5 years ago, and that was happiness. There was just one word. And I did not have any clue what that meant. You would think I would, as much spiritual stuff and much spiritual growth I've done, and yoga. I spent 7 years doing yoga, 1.5 hours every day. And still, there's still that little nugget way down and deep inside that you don't know how to bring out and portray it. Mm-hmm. And I got to say, the biggest part about it is that one word, and everything around that has constantly lined up in the last 1.5 years. Starting to do, now I've got a happiness initiative going on in Ottawa, Canada. I've got a happiness minister going on in Europe, and and I've got the Secret of Happiness, which is Greg Reed. I'm sure you know who he is, and so it is intent. And how do you do it? And how do you get back to the burning desire? Well, it is a burning desire, but the money gets to show up too.
Yeah, it's a journey, right? I mean, it's all a journey. And when we come across the dark spots, I've shared on here before that I'm coming out of survival mode, which is what you were describing, Robert. It comes to a point where that's what happened to me in 2013. Suddenly, I wasn't running away from something anymore. I didn't have that burning desire to not be someplace. It was so far away, I couldn't feel the bad anymore, right? I'd already done it. Right. I'm there. I'm gone. Well,
you got one choice.
Now what? Then now what? Right. So that's where I sat, and I started outlining, and my word was grow. Your word was happiness. My word was grow. Hence, what came out of that was grow because you know. And it was based out of my intense desire to show people that information is useless unless you investigate it further. Well, knowledge really, truly is power. And I've always been that way. Oh, from the time I learned to read when I was 3, and then I tell you what I read, because if you don't know, then you're not going to go anywhere, and nothing's going to happen.
That's proves, because you always have a great following, and you give that type of information that people can go in little incremental steps they're improving each and every day just because of who you are.
I hope so. Robert, that's so delightful that you say that. God's honest truth. Here's confession time. Everybody support me who's been, there's only 2 or 3 of you been here from the beginning. When I started, it was all about me.
Sure it is. And I don't know how to say it's all about me either. I can sit here and talk about myself, but I don't feel like, I can do that. But I was able to do that here this morning because of the prison that you were in, that you actually encouraged me to come out of that prison many different ways along the way because of because of the books you've read, because of the inspiration and desire to shift and make a difference in people's lives. That's really all. What are we here for? I mean, we're here to help people wake up and look at what is possible, what's possible in their lives, what makes them a difference, and inspiring them to say, wow, I can make one difference in somebody else's life today. You make a difference in how many people are on here right now. You're just, there's 9 and 30 people stopped by today. This morning only. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it is pretty cool. That's why I love Blab. I'm so glad you're here, Robert. So you say you have a ministry happening in Europe?
It's called she nominated herself as the happiness minister, and she goes around. So it is unique, but that's forming, and it's kind of fun actually.
Yeah.
So anyway,
so
I just
I'm
wanted
curious.
to jump on here.
I'm so glad you did. Don't go. Because I am curious if it happened for you like it did for me, where it started out with a word and then I kind of gave an outline of the direction I wanted to take it, and then it started fleshing itself out as I became more and more clear about what the end was going to look like. The plan to get there became more definite. The plan the vision became more and more clear. And as it became more clear, I started seeing the opportunities that really were in line with getting me there. There's Blab instead of a podcast. There is the Mastermind groups that I went public with. They were just simple, private. Literally, I met you on here and we'd have a private conversation. I'd investigate you further and maybe invite you in. Now it's more public. I talk about them and, and then from that, I'm currently creating an e-course about mastermind groups if somebody wants to set up, manage, and market them themselves. And I've got training courses that are going to be training sessions, if you will, that will be launched in January. But I also host a weekly business networking meeting every Wednesday virtually. So it's for professionals. But all of that is in line with the end result, which is my working with individuals who are interested in learning and growing and knowing more and putting to use what they know.
Every day.
So
that's how we shift the people, because the people get to recognize the gifts inside themselves, that those little incremental steps that they make each and every morning or day, that towards their desire, because I believe we all came here, honestly, I believe, to wake up, and that's the gifts that are that what you are saying to them, it's inside them. They get to reveal that, and they get to bring that to life, and I really appreciate what you do, and thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Robert. That's fascinating to hear somebody else's perspective, because I wasn't seeing things that way. I think it's great. Great.
Yeah, you are. Truly are, because you are really waking up many people, and just even if it's one thing, like saying, write down your goals, or write down your definite aim, and then revealing that. I think that makes you the unique person, because of the suggestion, and it rolls around in their conscious mind, and then all of a sudden their subconscious, those people are breaking it up, and they're actually implementing it. So that's why the content is so rich.
Very cool. Okay.
So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Have a good day.
Greatly appreciate it. You have a great day, Robert. Thanks for jumping on. So Zainab, what do you think about all that?
I completely agree, and I just love the idea that everyone is a contribution. And I think that's definitely one way. Obviously, especially if you're not necessarily aware, it's very easy to believe that you're not. You're useless. I hate that word. I hate that word. But it's just
not
always
of
good to
use
remember.
at the moment.
Yes, but it's just simple things that you can do that just mean that you're a contribution. Even just smiling at someone, you're contributing to their day. And I think it's so important to realize that you have that may be a small thing to contribute, but you definitely have more to give, and that's always important to keep in mind. Even if you don't know exactly what it is, you always have that potential.
I think it's important that I'm going to take Robert's lead and let you know that I got great joy from having you on this program. I think it's important. So Dina is screaming and I can't hear you, sweetie. You feel free to scream. You're not breaking my eardrums. But I think it's important that we let people know, just as Robert let me know, because I can't recognize any contributions that I make. I try, I want to, and I have a desire to do that. I have a desire to make a difference, to leave my mark on the world, to have an impact on other people. And honestly, until I'm shown or where I can see it or I'm told, I'm not always certain that I'm able to. So I'm taking his lead and I'm letting you know, Zainab, just what a delight it is for me. I truly get joy out of seeing you. It's your smile, it's your energy that comes through, it is the words that you say, which are spot on, have helped to make my day better. And I thank you for that.
And thank you for having me, because seriously, I don't think I would have come here unless I actually knew someone who came here. So I just love the way that connections, if you know the right people, you can really sort of go into places that can make you grow even further. So just finding people with similar mindsets is amazing.
Terrific. So glad you're here. Okay, everybody, look, we have Cindy on with us. She's joining us full face, no more toes. We met your toes one other time. But so good to see you. Welcome aboard, Cindy. And please, I want to know who is talking like a little mouse. Is that me?
I don't know.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
It's like it's feedback from Cindy's.
Yeah, I think so.
Audio.
Yeah, it's from Cindy's audio. Oh dear.
Yeah, it is, because I muted her and I can't hear it.
Yeah, same.
Oh, well, it's kind of funny, Cindy, so you don't have to.
We weren't expecting that at all.
But if you want to contribute something, I'm going to recommend you try to come back on, refresh. Yeah. Oh, it was almost musical Little Mouse, right?
It was.
Oh,
it's great.
Goodness. So what do you think about these 6 definite steps, dear?
When you say burning desire, do you mean to do something, or?
I want you to think of it as a goal that you are striving for, whether it be an academic goal or a project you're working on. And I'm not getting at silly feedback, which is good. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, it's working now.
I can hear you too. Hey, all right.
Awesome.
So
Cindy, would you like to go first?
No. Well, we'll finish it because I'm on.
Okay.
You got me thinking. I got to finish it out, or I'll come.
Go for it.
It is what you have a burning desire to complete, be it sports, sports and athletics, or academic, a personal spiritual goal you want to reach. Whether it's you want to try something new with a definite aim. It is just a very clear vision of where you want to be.
I think the way that you've the 6 steps definitely make a lot of sense, because I think it's definitely easy to think, I really want to do this, and then you never take steps to really get there, so you don't really get anywhere because you're just sort of meandering, doing things that aren't necessarily constructive as such. You're just sort of taking steps that feel right at the time but aren't necessarily good in the long,
Correct.
in the big picture. So they make a lot of sense to me.
Good. Hi, Cindy. Welcome.
Hello.
It's so delightful to see you.
My debut back on Blab after about, 9 weeks?
Something like that.
I've been dealing with the back problem, and so I'm finally sitting. I'll see how long I can sit.
Amazing.
And because doing it from bed just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not a good position to be in.
No. So I've actually put on a little makeup and fixed my hair, and I'm like,
I think it's great. Like I said, you look so much better than just your toes.
Yeah.
The last time
like,
she came on, yeah, you were on the couch and it was like, we see these toes was the way it was. Well, there's Cindy in Kentucky. Okay.
So what I wanted to talk about was the burning desire. It's something that I've struggled with. It's like, well, I have so much stuff that interests me, so many things that I like, that to come up with a burning desire has been a big problem for me. I can't, and through this, one of the things I think has been maybe why I've been down on my back for so long is to slow me down and to get me more focused. So I've got a couple of ideas, but every time somebody says burning desire, it's like, well, I don't know if I have that.
Yeah. Well, you don't. Just so you know, I'll just go ahead and tell you, you don't. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's I didn't. When I would hear that, I'd be so frustrated because I took it to mean I have to have this great passion for the details of what I'm doing in my business. Right? Do what you love. Really? I need to make money. Okay. Passion for it will, and it's like, well, I have passion for a lot of different things. Okay. So what I have learned for me, and I told the reason that I was able to overcome the fear of starting my own business was because the pain to go back to working for somebody else was greater than the fear I had of starting my own business. And it was called the lesser of two evils. It really was. The passion was get me the heck out of cubicle farms and working with nimwits and dingleberries, and it's on record, and dingbats. I mean, that's what I felt like I was surrounded by. It was the jobs that I had, and yes, there are jobs out there now that I'm quite sure I would do very, very well and fit very well in. To that point, though, actually it was April of 2007, I was in a horrifying job. It was like the worst ever kind of job for me. So my passion was, I've got to leave that. And I really didn't care what it looked like. I knew that it had to be something that would provide me the ability to work from home or anywhere I wanted. So I needed that freedom to be able to work just strictly online. What did that look like? I didn't know, but I was open to whatever was going to come because I had to get out. And I got lucky in that by April of 2007, I was shown a business opportunity that aligned with my need to know things. So I went into business research. And I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know squat. I really didn't. I knew how to market everybody else. I knew how to do everything for everybody else. But now all of a sudden it was me. And so I started and I joined a business opportunity that provided not only training and education and support, but I also had people who literally would tell me what I'm supposed to do next, And so I did that and I started growing my business and I made my way. And up until 2013, the whole reason that I was able to do what I needed to do to make money was because that I didn't want to be, it was very clear in my mind, the environment I was in as a sales manager of a team of 6 in a manufacturing environment, that I would have preferred, honestly, to have been out on the floor fixing the equipment. But the more I was making more money as the sales manager. Okay. And I couldn't fix the people. Dang it. Trust me, I tried. But just knowing that, right? And then the cubicle farm, it's called prairie dogging. You're always over the platform talking to other people. That's exactly it, Ken. And I don't. I'm not. I'll stop the recording shortly, and I'll tell you a few stories about that. But so then there came the time, and all the while I'm hearing, well, just do your passion. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm doing okay. Quite honestly, I'd have been digging ditches if that's what it took to make the money for me to get out of where I was. I was to that point, so it didn't matter. Then in 2013, it was no desire to really keep moving forward because I was far enough away from that pain that I'm stuck where you are right now, Cindy, which is, well, what is it I want to do? What is it I love? I loved all these things. So this is what I've learned from that, because it took a year to identify it. And it took about a year. From 2013 into 2014 was the exploration of what the heck am I going to do? And because this isn't where I am now, isn't where I want to be. But I really want to be working towards something now instead of running away from something. And what I ended up figuring out was that even at the beginning, I was working towards the same thing I'm working towards now. And what I'm working towards is freedom. It is financial freedom. It is spiritual freedom. It is physical freedom. It is location independence. It is freedom to be, ultimately, what I realize now that I'm in the middle of the growth is that it is the freedom to step out behind from a company name and instead just be myself and to have other people be okay with that. Mm. Now, what that means is that all these things that I love still come underneath there. I do business research. I do competitive intelligence. I do marketing plans. I do strategizing with individuals and with companies when it comes to their marketing, online and offline. I do trainings. I love for people to know things. I love for them to learn things. The Mastermind Groups are all about helping people to ask the right questions of each other so that they can grow themselves and their businesses. It is not me asking the questions. It's me guiding it so that they're asking it of each other, right? So all the details of what's making up Charlene Burke, marketing and search consultant, all the things I already love to do, you know? But I had to identify, and that's why my word was grow, because it was the personal growth that I had to be able to get to the point where I can step out from behind the Search by Burke name, the company name. And it still fits, though. Everything that I'm still working towards. Now, this time next year, you should be seeing me from my RV, and I'll be showing you from my. We're going to live on the road, you know. Been wanting to do that since 1990, and no plan presented itself for us to do that. The plan's there now.
Awesome.
But again, freedom, right?
Right.
Freedom, physical freedom, you know. So that's what I can offer to you. I don't know. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about growth and knowledge, knowing things. I love to know things. That is my personal, what will turn me on is knowledge. Mm. It's learning. It's, questioning. So how do you turn that into business so that you're passionate about the business? I don't know. Yeah, right. But I'm just telling you, that was my journey. To get to the point to be able to say that really, when I look back, I'm able to see that all along that's all I was looking for. And what I was going for was freedom. Freedom from the prison of the babysitter, of the cubicle farm, of trying to live by somebody else's rules. Freedom to be who I am and feel free to do so, because up until just a few years ago, I didn't feel that. I got a lot of pushback. I still get pushback, but now I'm finding people that are attracted to who I am and that help me to feel like I'm okay being me. But I still get pushback out in the world. I mean, I can go to a lunch meeting today and I can tell you that if I pretty much know who I'm going to get pushback from. And it's because they don't like me. I'm too independent. They'll tell me that. I still have, the older fellas are funnier than heck. They're in their 60s and they say, you should be home with your husband. I say, well, he's smiling now and you're not. I think all is well. But when I try to tell them answers, I mean, I still get the engineer in me. Somebody will be talking to me about a problem they're having on the floor of their manufacturing facility, or they're in the offices or something. And I'll say, well, the process that I'm familiar with that works to address that is this. And there'll be a fellow that comes in and age 30 over, comes in, and he'll start saying the same thing, and I'm completely ignored. It's like, well, you're missing out because I got great stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm just letting you know that it's not, I almost said something that's not true. One thing I used to say, I started saying this when I was about 19, 20 years old, and I hold it to be true for myself today, is, and I can say this clearly now, whereas I couldn't before because I'm coming out of that survival mode. The reality is that for me, life is a garden, and the majority of my life is like a rose bush. And what that tells me is that the people that are for me are those who are the rosebuds, and they're reaching towards the sunlight, and they want to grow, and they want to bloom, and they want to help me to grow and to bloom. But I wouldn't be able to recognize the rosebuds if there weren't some pricks along the way. So I'm going to end the recording. I just realized,
on that note,
recorded. Yeah, I don't know that that'll go up on YouTube. Let me end the recording, and then we can have an open discussion in here, okay? I want to thank everybody who has joined me in the live stream. Zainab, Cindy, Robert, Matt, pleasure always. Dina, wish you could have gotten in here and spent some time in here. Those in the comment section, some terrific comments coming from that area. And those on the replay, and I have a feeling my assistant's going to put this up anyway. Thank you for joining me. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until